Hey, what's up guys? It's Benji here, and I know I've been uploading a lot of Twitch VODs for you guys lately. Hope you guys are enjoying those. I only upload my best games, but today I wanted to do a little bit more high quality video. I wanted to show you guys AP Kog, how it's played, why it's good, all that good stuff, as well as my setup for it, runes, masteries, build, etc. Right now I have like an 80% win rate on it. I'm 7-2, as you guys can see on the screen. It really just became viable this patch. Riot gave a 0.2 AP ratio buff to both his Q and his E, and that enables him a lot more than you might think it would. That is a very significant buff to a champion that is sort of like sitting on the fence. Kog'Maw could always be broken at any point. You know, he has a pretty crazy kit potentially. The numbers aren't great on it right now, so it doesn't seem too good, but it always has potential, especially AP Kog. If you haven't been playing the game for a very long time, you might not be familiar with AP Kog, as the last time it was viable, if I can remember right, was like season 2 or season 3. Maybe even season 1 when I first started playing, when he first came out. I remember people were playing him AP back then. So, anyways, first, let's get into the runes. For runes, I go Comet. Could go Phase Rush, but I personally don't think it's good because you're gonna proc Phase Rush in situations where you don't need it. Like you're just gonna be poking from range, you're gonna hit a few spells, and you're gonna get it, and it's gonna go on cooldown, and you didn't need it. It was completely pointless. So, I don't think it's necessary. Also, his damage is it's there, but it's sort of lacking early game. You need that extra base damage, and I feel like Comet really helps with that. And because you're usually proccing it with your E, which is a slow, it's almost guaranteed to hit. My damage that I get on Comet throughout the game is pretty obnoxious. In fact, probably look at the numbers really quick before we start this next game. So then for runes, below that, I'm going to go Mana Flow Band, obviously. It's very good. Transcendence, just normal. Absolute Focus, not very good on him. And Scorch, same thing as I was talking about earlier. It really helps you get through the early game. That extra little base damage really, really helps out. You might be thinking, oh, you're playing a scaling late game champion. Why would you not go G-Storm? But you're already really strong late game. In fact, you're strong after like level 11. What you want is something that can sort of like propel you along the right path early in the game so you don't fall too far behind and you actually have like some trading potential in lane. So I feel like this rune setup helps a lot with that. The secondary is going to be Precision with Presence of Mind. Presence of Mind is just too valuable on any champion that buys tier because the restore is based on percentage health, or sorry, percentage of mana. So if you have a really, really high mana pool, then it's just going to give you like, you know, in Cog's case, it gives you like 10 extra E or 10 extra ults just like that. Also, since you're buying tier and you're going Archangels, the bonus 500 mana for when you eventually get that does give you a decent amount of AP. I'm not sure the exact amount, but it's there. It matters quite a bit. So for secondary rune, the only real option, in my opinion, is Coup de Grace. You actually don't really want Cut Down because you're going to be going Leandries and Rylai's most likely. Maybe one, maybe the other, and potentially both, but like you're usually going to have one. And anytime you're playing a champion that buys that extra little bit of base HP, Cut Down is going to become more and more inefficient, whereas Coup de Grace is like always going to help out. And also, your ult does bonus damage to people below 40%, so there's like some synergy in that. For runes, obviously Adaptive Force times 2. I thought about attack speed since you have W, but because they buffed his AP ratios so much on his Q and his E, I feel like the extra Adaptive Force helps you trade much more easily early game, so that's what I prefer. If you're versus an ambiguous matchup, like say there's like a Lucian and a Syndra on the other team, you could go one MR and one armor rune, and it's not that bad. You're not going to lose out that much. It's definitely worth not getting like thrown off by a weird flex pick and just starting the game at a disadvantage. So we're going to be looking at this VOD of a game I just played. Real quick, we could probably look at the Comet. The Comet damage is pretty high. This is like a, 20-minute game, and I did 1400 damage with Comet. I did 600 damage almost with Scorch. That is actually really, really significant. Those are some very high numbers. My runes gave me 2000 extra damage, and I don't think the survivability afforded to me by going Phase Rush would have mattered at all. I don't think the slow AP scaling that I would have gotten from G-Storm would have helped me nearly as much as Transcendence did. So let's get right into it. Hopefully that quick little 5-minute rant gets you warmed up. Okay, so yeah, one more thing that I wanted to talk about is you might be asking why AP Kog is good and why I'm playing it beyond just the buffs, you know, because it could be seen as just a mid laner. Well, there's a couple things. For one, AP Kog mid doesn't have that many great matchups. You might be able to play it into like your Corkis or your Azirs. You know, it might be able to go toe to toe with those sort of like scaling champions early. But what it lacks a lot of is roaming potential and skirmishing potential. It is a very unreliable roamer and skirmisher. You often have to take the safe path. You're completely vulnerable if someone jumps on you. It's very risky. And the reason why I play it bot lane is because that playstyle fits in perfectly with how AD carries play right now. And obviously, if you've been playing the game over the last couple of years, you've seen a lot of like new additions to bot lane, mages and bruisers and Yasuos and stuff like that. Like bot lane is a lot more open now. And yeah, AP Kog fits the bill perfectly for what you want as a bot laner. It's actually pretty crazy. You want to play the slow, methodical game where you're holding waves for your team. You're able to like follow up on skirmishes, but not be the one starting them. And you're able to safely farm and have like a safe potential weak side, you know? When you're playing a side lane, you're always potentially going to be the weak side. And I have a video that I talked about that with earlier, where I talked about being the weak side. It could happen to you at any moment, even if you're playing a strong champion. Kog can clear waves like no other after level 6, and pre-6, his range is high enough and his poke is good enough that he can sit all the way behind the wave and you'll still get like 3 or 4 out of the 6 CS on every wave. So yeah, it's really nice. So your goal constantly throughout the lane is to try and land E in a way where you're CSing for yourself and giving you control of the wave how you want it. Maybe that means not hitting the wave. Maybe that means hitting all 6 casters. Maybe, you know, they're standing at an angle. Like if Ashe is standing here and I want to get these melees, you know, I would just be able to get the melees plus Ashe. You know, so that's sort of what you're looking for. You want your E to be really, really impactful. You want it to hit because it's gonna proc Mana Flow, Scorch, and Kog'Maw for you, and it's gonna add a lot of extra damage. If those aren't up, I usually won't E. I'll wait till it's up and I'll just maybe throw a Q. Q only costs 40 mana. You can afford to spam it the entire game. It's not a big deal. But E costs double that. It costs 80. You know, for every 1 E cost, you can get 2 Q casts. So yeah, it's really significant. So you're just gonna be spamming out the Qs, looking to E through the wave, looking to proc my Mana Flow, my Kog'Maw, my Scorch. Those are all super important. That being said, even when you do get prio, it's fairly temporary. It's very hard to keep prio on an AP Kog'Maw because he's just very vulnerable early. You know, his cooldowns, he has a 8-second cooldown on his Q and a 12-second cooldown on his E early. And your opponents are going to know when those are down, you're going to become very vulnerable. After you get your W, after level 4, it's a little bit more bearable. If they run at you, you can get like some decent trades back on them with EQ and then some W autos. But at this point, like, usually I have to give up prio and concede the lane a little bit. So it also, well, it could depend on your matchup as well. For example, if you're versus Ezreal, which I think AP Kog is actually really good against, it's very easy to push an Ezreal in, and since your E is AoE and his isn't, and he can't really like trade you with autos that easily, you could potentially get prio against him if your support matchup's good. So, but yeah, other than that, just be content chilling early game. Just be happy under your tower. Try to stay at a reasonable amount of HP and mana, and try to make sure that you don't go before you can afford your tier. I've tried Lost Chapter first, waiting until 1300. I thought it would be worth it. I did it in a couple games. Because your E and your ult combined can actually one-shot the casters once you're level 6, it doesn't really actually feel that beneficial to pick up the extra AP. And you never really go once you have that tier, as long as you manage your mana well. So I consistently back on around 900 gold. The only times where I would back on more than that is if I felt forced to take heal. I've been starting to take TP more, but sometimes I feel pressured, like if I don't have heal, we're not gonna be able to lane, or maybe exhaust. Like, if I'm versus a Callista Thresh or something like that, I might feel the need to take exhaust or heal. And then, yeah, I'd have less control of my back cycles, so I wouldn't be able to back for sure on 900. So yeah, early game, bit of a snooze fest. The gank happened, I followed up on it a little bit, I overextended, I died. TP back. I only, again, this is relating to the tier, like, I'll only make an aggressive play, even if I'm going to die doing it, if I'm going to commit to a play, I'll only do it after I have the item in my bank. That's a really good habit to get into. Can you imagine if I died like that and had to TP back on this wave and I had like 800 gold, I was like 50 gold short of a tier, my game would be ruined. Like, obviously I had boots as well here, but if you make that mistake, it'll ruin your perception of the champion. It'll ruin your early game. It'll definitely hinder your chances of winning. It'll hurt you quite significantly. Kind of a team diff right now, like my team is playing very well. But I'm going to show you guys how AP Kog enables your team in a minute here. So now that I'm level 6, okay, I actually got my tier and my lost chapter, a little bit of a fortunate early game. You're going to see Pantheon roam constantly and not even be a part of my lane for like 5 minutes. And watch this health bar very closely, because I don't think they got more than one auto attack on my tower in the entire duration of my Pantheon roaming. Your wave clear is so... it's infuriating to play against. Look at this. That was a full wave. They pushed my wave before I damaged their wave at all. All I had to do was E and then ult the casters and then ult the melees and Q them. And it's just gone. It's crazy. So when you're wave clearing, what you want to do specifically, if possible, you want to ult the melees, and then you want to wait out your ult duration so that the mana goes back down. And then you want to ult the casters if you're in range. If you're not in range, that's fine. Wait for your wave to die, wait for the wave to come in, and then get the full E. Remember, your E takes time to travel. So while it's coming in, you can cast your E a little bit early, like here. I'm not in range, like my E is not going to hit from here to here, but they walk into it. It pretty much did, but you can keep that in mind for when you're trying to wave clear at the maximum distance. And then yeah, because I set up those melees, all I have to do is Q the cannon and auto the cannon a little bit. Boom, it's completely clear. And my Pantheon this entire time is pressuring them and looking for a play. And their only hope of diving me is like fully committing to me with sums and ults and everything. And it's likely that it will be pointless, because I will have cleared the wave between my E, my R, and my passive. Even if I get dove, I will have cleared the wave, and I'll be able to just like TP back as soon as I spawn. They'll get nothing for it, and they'll have committed everything, which means they won't be able to contribute to anything positive for their team for the next like 2 or 3 minutes. And this is not game specific. This happens all the time where I'm stuck on my own and I'm just chilling wave clearing. That being said, after 6, you can win a lot of lane matchups, especially if you have like a poke support. I love playing with like Karma or Bard. It becomes really obnoxious because if they land either of their skills, all of your skills are basically guaranteed to land. And it can definitely get lane pressure, but allowing your support to roam is just as valuable, and Kog is just a beast at it like no other. It's so stupid, it's insane. And there was a point where Zillion like he was like typing in all chat. He was so frustrated. He's like, this is fun, lol, or this is fair or something. You know, it frustrates people a lot. You know, I even have time to go like roam to mid real quick and see if I can pick up a kill on Jax, come back. And they're too frustrated at this point. My support has been roaming for years, and they haven't. Look, they've literally auto attacked my tower like once, if that. And they've had prio the entire time. Here I make a little bit of a mistake. Always prioritize trading them over farming the wave. Like here is a huge mistake. I E'd right in front of Ashe. It was very disrespectful what I did. I only did it because Pantheon was pretty close. But even then, it would have been better to E Ashe because Pantheon was close, because we could have just gotten a kill. Like ERQ will guaranteed hit if someone is walking to you for an auto. That's why Kog is so great against these champions like Ashe or Aphelios, who only really can auto you as a form of trading because they're very predictable in their movement and they can only do one thing. And you know, they're going to be diving into you to do it. Everything is going to land. So I didn't even like E her there, and she took so much damage. It's crazy. And now it's impossible for her to lane. In fact, just like that, I get her flash, Zillion ult. And I don't even have to, this is the thing. AP Kog is such a low committal champion. Like, you don't have to be like deep in the fight. You just need to be on the outskirts of it and never make the mistake of diving in with where your front line is, or even like your mid line, if that's what you want to call them. Like, I would consider an AD carry is like a midline champion, you know? They're autoing 500 range behind the front line. But AP Kog, you don't even want to be close. You don't want to be where the AD carry would be. You want to be like 500 units behind that even. So like, so many champions, you can feel like you're the man or whatever, but then like so many champions, once they get on you, will just instantly explode you. And even if it means missing out on a kill or missing out on a little bit of damage that you could have gotten for follow-up, it's more important you don't give them the opportunity to turn on you and get a kill on you. Like, you'll die just like that. And you'll see me do it multiple times this game where I'm just playing absolute max range. Here, obviously this is how you want to position as Kog. Even though it doesn't completely relate, I'll show you a better example later. When you're playing Kog, as I said, you're like this back range champion. It's fine to be on the other side of walls. Often, like when your team is like contesting a choke or they're contesting vision or whatever, if you're an AD carry especially, you'll be inclined to like be with them so you can follow up with your ult and your auto attacks on whoever you catch. But with Kog, you don't need to really be with them to help poke out and finish off or follow up on whatever catches they make or whatever vision they're trying to contest. So like, if I'm trying to contest river vision as Kog and my team goes this way, like along this line, I'll feel content going along this line. And when they're in the river right here, I don't mind like standing here. You know, it's no problem. You can follow up from so far away. You don't need to be near them. And just give yourself like a lot of room to breathe. Make sure you know where all of the threats are. Like, don't go into like murky territory when you're like, oh, the Shaco could be here, you know? It'd be cheesy, but like, he could be here, or the Zillion or the Jax could be like flanking me or whatever, you know? Like, don't put yourself in those positions. It's really bad. It's not important for you to be the finisher of the kills. Your presence in the game is so annoying. You just want to make sure you keep living. As long as you keep living, your opponent can't do anything. That's why Kog fits into the AD carry well role. That it's exactly what you do as an AD carry. You're like this walking turret. You know, you farm your jungle camps, you farm all the waves, you last hit kills, and the other team is like, we need to kill this guy, otherwise we can't progress our game. That's how it feels. Or rather, just, you know, the AD carry is the squishiest target with the most carry potential, so it's like naturally the target. Kog fits this role so well, and he's so good at preventing people from making the plays they want to make on him, because again, this wave clear is disgusting, the range follow-up is disgusting, and once you take over mid, you'll never lose mid tower as long as you don't die in a stupid skirmish. If you don't overcommit to a skirmish and your team dies, but you're alive, you can prevent Baron single-handedly, you can clear waves coming into your turrets single-handedly, you can prevent your opponents from making any significant plays as long as you are playing. You're sticking to your role. Don't leave your comfort zone. Do what you need to do. Alright, it's really important. Here, I'm trolling. I could have flashed that. Don't worry about that. Didn't need to die there. Bada boom. I'm back on the map. Yeah, here's a quick little good example of me, like, I'm not like going for W auto attacks. I literally play max range on this flank. Like, I think I popped my W, I don't even use it. I'm like, wait, I can't go for this auto because like my Galio used all of his abilities here to try and kill him. We got him to half HP. What happens if I walk into melee range of him and I let him E me for free before he's in a range where he could actually die? So instead of auto attacking it here, I notice he's waiting, he's holding his Q the whole time. All he wants is for me to walk into range and give him that distance. And eventually I do, but that's because he's low enough. I didn't just walk right into melee range while he's still like 70-80% HP where he could potentially trade kills. I'm making sure that I keep that space up. It's like when you're playing an AD carry, you know, and you right click here, and then, you know, they're like, oh, I have to auto attack trade you, and then you're like, nope, and you turn around, and then you bait their champion into like sort of like going into a range they're not comfortable with, and then you get the free auto on them, you know, auto spacing. You know, you're doing that basically on Kog'Maw, except instead of auto attacks, you're using 1,000 range ulti. Okay, so it's a little bit different to get used to, but once you get used to it, you'll have no problem. Also, just like an AD carry, he can farm camps extremely well. Is great AoE for raptors and wolves. Your jungler will hate you, but you're gonna carry him anyways. Who cares? Real quick before this fight starts, so notice I went haunting guys here. There's a few options I like. Like pretty much all of them involve a dark seal. I love buying dark seal on Kog. You're so ridiculously safe. I really like buying Magi's too if I get 10 stacks with a dark seal. It just feels like you're never gonna lose it. Like it's very when a Kog is snowballing and his team is snowballing and picks up a Magi's, you never really feel like you're able to dive and get those stacks. Like a control mage is in the fight. Like it's risky, you know. A control mage could always get flashed on, but there's no flashing on Kog and killing Kog and taking his stacks. Like it's just not gonna happen. He's too far away. So I didn't buy it this game, but I love Magi's, I love Dark Seal. I think I'm not sure. I'm debating in my mind between whether Rylai's or Liandry's is better as a second item. I'm leaning towards Liandry's because often your teammates will have slows or CC, and your E itself is a slow, and it's pretty much guaranteed to hit on somebody. And when you hit your E, usually you hit your ult and your Q as well, so it's going to get the bonus Liandry's burn. And it's very, very easy to stay in combat as Kog. It's very easy to just hit someone with your ulti residually, even if you're not aiming for them. Like someone's going to run into it in fights, especially if you use the right skin. Okay, if you really want to win, don't use Arcanist Kog and don't use Battlecast Kog. They have the most obvious ult animations in the game and E animations, and in fact Arcanist Kog is so bugged, like the E animation is actually faster than the damage it deals, so your opponents have like it feels like a bonus half second to react to your E and dodge out of the way. So I love this skin. I've been using it, I'm not gonna lie, but it does feel like a huge handicap. I feel like I'm like losing games because I'm using the wrong skin. Anyways, right into this fight, I'm chilling. There's a fight. Just you wait. It's not a very good one though, I guess. Look at this low committal. I'm not getting in range of any of them. I'm not giving them any space whatsoever. Literally none. I'm constantly like, what if an Ash arrow hits me on this angle and someone is here that I didn't expect? What if Jax is gonna like pop out of nowhere? You know, like yeah, I see Jax, but I'm like gravitating to my turret. I want to be on my turret, you know? I want to be clearing this next wave. That's my win condition. And here you're gonna see, look, like they have to commit so much to kill me and prevent the wave from dying. And even then, like if you have flash up, if I didn't have flash up, I wouldn't be so far up, but I do. So I trade flash with Zillion. And look at this, like I have half HP. They're so desperate and they can't do anything. That's the wave. That's it. Or he dies here. I'm here. I'm 1,000 units away. Like the range of your E is the minimum distance that you want to be. And here, right, like everybody on their team is dead except for Jax, who I knew is bot, I'm pretty sure, and Shaco. Okay, a lot of players would be in the pit with W, auto attacking Baron, using everything on Baron. What happens when Shaco decides to pull up on you and one shot you with Smite and E? Okay, you're gonna die potentially. I don't have Saras, but I'm constantly giving myself this layer of protection. And you're gonna come to realize when you play it, when you're this far away, they're zoned. They're actually being zoned while you're on the other side of the river. Look at this. I never get in range for Shaco to do anything to me, and he's even thinking about it, but look. Boom, that's half of his health. From here to here is half of his health. It's so frustrating to play against. He does end up killing my teammate, but I've single-handedly zoned the Shaco while not even being in any danger whatsoever. So yeah, I won't lie. I've had more exciting games on AP Kog. You can go and look back. There's a couple games on my channel I uploaded that were like, you know, quadra kills back and forth, left and right, and you know, like crazy like 20 bombs I dropped. This wasn't a high kill game, but it was a great example of what AP Kog is capable of, and I just want to show you guys. My team carried for the most part of this game, but I was a solid backup. Like if anything went wrong, I would be able to take on the reins and carry this game. No problem. And just look at the range and look where I'm dropping from. I'm here. Yeah, I don't know why I'm invisible. Yeah, I'm here though, and I'm following up on a play over here. Not that it was necessary, but it could have been. That's the point. And so that's the strength of AP Kog'Maw. And yeah, again, this VOD was not exciting, I know, but like it was important. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully had everything you needed. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask below in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, insightful, whatever, I really appreciate the support. I'm trying to get my YouTube channel growing right now, and all the support helps so much. I really appreciate it, guys. So if you enjoyed the video, comment, like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll be back again next time. Not sure what we'll do next time, but yeah, thank you. Peace.